Hello, this is Reverend Dore, teaching religious science, which is the philosophy and faith of science of mind. Beautiful day in Sarasota today. Today we want to talk about, with vision, the people thrive. You know, last post we presented a diagnosis of what ails the U.S., Europe, and indeed most of the world. We quoted the biblical passage that says, without vision the people perish. And it was my idea of what is fragmenting and polarizing not only the U.S. but many nations around the world. We've lost our vision is what we've done. A vision is a grand idea. The American dream is a vision. And many people in this country are saying the American dream is no longer alive. It's every bit as alive today as it was 100 years ago, but you have to use it and you have to believe in it. If you don't, it won't work for you. There seems to be little overarching vision or agreement about anything right now in our world of November 2013, and how can we change this? Today I want to talk about the fix, and I think the fix lies first in identifying the cause of the problem. Let's not try to move the furniture around in the house while it's on fire. Let's look for the cause. The cause is the triumph of ideology over pragmatism and the widespread ignorance of the people about how a democracy is really supposed to work, and I include America. You know, we stopped teaching history a while ago, and in U.S. government we sort of gloss over quickly. We think everybody ought to study nothing but science and math. What you have there is a bunch of technological fools because they know nothing else. We need to teach people good, sound American values of compromise, civility, treating each other decently, and all working together toward a common goal, regardless of our party. Put the country above party. That's what we used to teach in school. We need to do it again. The fix lies in a new prescription for our dear country and the world. That new prescription can become a blueprint for the world. And here's my idea of it. Can we agree that we all love our children and we want a first-rate education for every one of them? That sound like an idea we can all embrace? Can we agree that we can and must care for the sick and the aged? I don't care if you're a conservative or a ultra-liberal, what they're calling themselves now is progressives. We have to do that. We can't have people dying because they don't have medical care, and we can't have people sleeping rough, as they say in Britain. That means on the street. Can we agree that we all desire to live in peace and enjoy freedom from fear? Can we agree that we all want personal liberty to think, to speak, and to live as we choose, as long as we don't abridge another person's rights? Oliver Wendell Holmes defined it well. He said, your right to swing your fist ends at the end of the other fellow's nose. And I think we do that, that's fine. We offend somebody, they can get over it. It's our right to speak our mind. Hopefully we'll do it pleasantly. Can we agree that each of us is responsible for his or her own life and for the loving care of their household? Can we agree that religion is as personal as our tastes and lovers or ice cream or clothes, and it's not a subject for hatred, war, or conflict? It's like going to war over whether vanilla or Rocky Road is a better flavor for ice cream. It's crazy. Can we agree that we're all unique creations of something, somewhere, even if we have no God? There's a life force, there's some intelligence that put all this together. To believe otherwise is to believe that 500 monkeys, given a room full of typewriters, could eventually create the collected works of Shakespeare if they pounded the keys long enough. No, it just doesn't wash, folks. No accidental creations of a universe. Can we agree that that civil and courteous behavior should be the norm, and that everybody deserves courtesy and kindness because we're all on this planet together? Can we agree that theft and murder, false witness, sexual violence, criminal violence, and racial or ethnic hatred must no longer be tolerated? Can we agree that as human beings, we all feel, cry, love, we aspire to a better life for our children than we were able to create? Can we not agree that the planet we live upon must be preserved for and cared for, or we all perish? And we burn down our house, we have nowhere to live. If we can say yes to these ideas, we can literally transform this planet together. There's nothing out there to blame. We created this fragmentation. We created this disharmony, and only we can end it. We helped to create it with the best of intentions. You know what they say, the road to you know where is with good intentions. Sometimes we just don't look down the road and see what the unintended consequences of what we think are good ideas. We spend a great deal of energy and time focusing on our differences and celebrating diversity rather than on creating a consciousness of oneness. You know, in the United States, we have an interesting motto, the official motto of the country. It's on the seal of the nation, E pluribus unum. In Latin, that means out of many, one. That's how America became America. We took people from every corner of the world, every conceivable language, race, ethnicity, and they became Americans after a generation or two. They spoke the same language. They liked baseball. They went to football games on Friday nights and watched their kids play ball. They acted like Americans. They learned to like hamburgers and hot dogs while still eating the delicacies of the old country. I still enjoy a good Armenian meal, but it's not what I eat every day like it would be if I lived in Yerevan, Armenia. I'm an American now. I celebrate my heritage, but my Americanness is more important than that because it's what binds us together as a nation. Perhaps we ought to bring back the old melting pot. That's what made people from all over the world Americans. We never told them they had to stop being Italians or Greeks, and they didn't. We did tell them they needed to become Americans within a reasonable time, however. I live what I teach. My family has roots in Africa, Europe, South America, and the Middle East. As you can see from the picture of my son Evan's wedding, he's a tall, good-looking dude with a suntan, to his beautiful bride Naomi at the top of this post. Now, his mother was from Belize. The only continent yet to join our family is Asia, and who knows what love can produce in a few years. When you ask anyone in my family what they are, the only answer you'll get is, I am an American, and they're proud to be one. They don't even like to be called multiracial, and they certainly don't want to be called black because they say it dishonors the white half of their heritage. My great-grandchildren will probably be able to say I'm a citizen of Earth. I look forward to that day when we can all start fighting with each other. Do the differences between Sunnis and Shias really matter if we're all dead? Do the age-old divisions of Christianity into thousands of sects really matter if none of those sects practice the love and teachings of the Master? Do the arguments over socialism and capitalism matter if we impoverish ourselves with our foolish behavior and thoughtless greed? Does our concern for security matter if we lose our liberty? As you lose your liberty, you lose it all. Does party affiliation matter if the country falls? You know, there's one power and presence in the universe that I believe is all that exists. I believe that I exist, therefore I believe that God lives and moves and has his being in me. And I live and move and have my being within him or her. The Bible is entirely right when it says we live and move and have our being within the body of God. Paul said that, one of the wisest things he said. Every single human being on earth has the indwelling God within them, put there as standard equipment. Whether you know it or not, it's there. For that reason, each pair of eyes I look into is or are the eyes of God. Each hand I shake is the hand of God. Each person I meet is a living expression of God, and I do my level best to treat everyone that way. We are one. You, me, my wife, my children, my 6 darling grandchildren. Every other person, child, grandchild, and beloved one is one. There is unity in all life and in all humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to bring forward people in leadership in our country and around the world who know that compromise is the heart and soul of government, that ideology is always subservient to pragmatism and effectiveness, that liberty is to be cherished over any other consideration, because if you're not free, you're only existing, and we didn't come here merely to exist. Each human on this planet is literally on a mission from God, and that mission is to hone and perfect their love into a state of perfect unconditional acceptance and love for their brothers and their sisters as they love themselves. And usually the first order of business is to learn to love yourself. That's the heart and soul of truth, and it's the ultimate prescription for a paradise on earth. Let's come together right here and right now and bring back common sense, civility, an ethos of live and let live, compromise, and let's resurrect the art of the deal. People think making deals is bad somehow. No, that's how you get things done. And let's get America living the American dream again. You know, aspiration impels people to be the best they can be. Let's not envy what somebody else has worked hard and created in their life. Let's aspire to have that too, if that's what we want. Let's begin to work toward the day when we'll all live on a planet with a shared vision. It may have varied customs and lifestyles, many colors, many hues, but we're all living and loving in unity. Until we're together again, richest blessings on all areas of your life. If you want to know more about religious science, the science of mind, log on to csl.org and find the nearest Center for Spiritual Living. That's what we call our churches. Drop in to one of our Sunday celebrations or sign up for a class. Could well change your life. Until we're together again, bye-bye for now.